Pinia is the new state management system for Vue.js that's intended to replace Vuex. It allows us to store global state in something called a store. We can then access that state from anywhere in our application. For example, let's say we needed to check whether a user's logged in multiple places around the app. Typically, we'd have to use props and events to pass that data around. With Pinia, we can add the authentication status to the store, then access it from any component that needs to check it. We can add Pinia to a project in one of two ways. The first is to scaffold a new project with Vite and select it to be included. We can also add Pinia to an existing project by running the command npm install Pinia. Once it's been installed, we'll need to create a Pinia instance and add it to the app as a plugin. There are two types of stores we can create, an option store or a setup store. The option store is similar to a Vuex store where we create our state, getters, and actions as options. We can think of state as the data option, getters as the computed option, and actions as the methods option. If you already know Vuex, this should be familiar. The only difference is that mutations are now handled behind the scenes. The setup store is the composition API's version of it. In a setup store, refs are the state, computeds are the getters, and functions are the actions. For our first example, we've created a new counter.js file in the store folder in the root of our project. To create a store, we use the defineStore function, imported from the Pinia package. The function accepts two arguments. The first is a unique string name and the second is a callback where we define our state, getters, and actions. It's typically stored in something like a constant that we can export and use in other components. The naming convention for stores and composables in general is to prefix the name with use. To demonstrate, let's add a store to our counter file. For the data, we'll define a new ref called counter and set it to 0. Because we shouldn't directly get or change data from outside the store, we'll add a computed property that returns the counter value, as well as a function that increments the counter. Finally, we'll return the getter and action, so we can use it around the app. To access a store, we need to import and invoke it in a component. Once the store is instantiated, we can access the data. To keep the data reactive, we need to destructure the state and getters with the storeTorefs function. Actions can be destructured directly. To use the data, we can reference it in the template just like we normally would. To demonstrate, we'll access our counter store from the root app component. We'll start by importing the store and the storeTorefs function. Then we instantiate it in a constant called store. After that, we'll destructure the getter and the action, so we can use it in the template. Finally, we'll use the action in a click event on the button, and show the counter's value inside it. If we run the example, the counter increments when we click the button. Alright, that's it for Pinia and the Vue series. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for the next course.